Gosh, Robert, just when we thought it was safe to turn on the television, Freddy is back. Tell us what's going on with the series. Yeah.
Well, we're going on this weekend all over the country. We're syndicated, and I'm real proud of it. I've been made a series consultant, and I don't think I've had to say one word yet. We have some of the best writers in town working for us. The goal, the reason that I was attracted to the project was they wanted to make something, in the tradition of the old Alfred Hitchcock Presents. So we brought something with a real element of black humor, kind of a subversive, scary, dark humor to late night television here. And every episode so far has been directed by a feature film director with a reputation in the horror genre. For instance, our pilot was directed by Tobe Hooper, who did Poltergeist 1, Invaders from Mars, and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So these are the kind of guys we have directing each episode, and I'm real proud of the show. I think we're working on 7 right now. I think out of 7, there's 4 of them that I would call gems already. I mean, they're like classic little Twilight Zones that you remember when you were a kid.
Now, how will this affect the Nightmare on Elm Street film series? I mean, do you think that you're going to use up all the possibilities of storylines, or how will that affect that?
Well, you have to understand, on the series, Freddy serves as sort of a bookend in most episodes. I'm kind of like Alfred Hitchcock or Rod Serling. I operate out of this area we call the Hall of Dreams. And I manifest in various episodes, and I serve as a catalyst to some shows. I even have a part, or I play a part in the plot of some shows. But basically, we focus on the denizens of Springwood, which is the town that Elm Street is in, and how they're affected in this America of the 80s with all the pressures and things that are wrong with us now in America, and how Freddy's sort of evil taint affects them. So we're going to have to see with the Freddy fans whether they're going to get enough Freddy late at night with their pizza delivered or their Chinese food in their lap, and how this is going to affect the appetite of the Freddy's fans. I mean, they may get enough Freddy late night television, so we won't have to make up 5, and my skin can finally heal. I don't know. We're going to have to check that out.
Now, are you very surprised at the success of the Nightmare on Elm Street films?
No one is more surprised than I am. I did the first one as a lark. I'm a stage actor, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun to, meet the challenge of the makeup and the voice and working with all the special effects. I was doing a television series called V back then, and my character had become very popular as a result of the miniseries. I think we were #1 for like 10 hours or something, like Roots. And I just had these visions of playing this nerdy E.T. alien in a bow tie for the next 10 years of my life. So and not that I didn't love doing V, but I thought, gosh, I'm locked into this sucker. I better do something else just to show them, I have another side to myself. And I did Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1 during the hiatus between the miniseries and the series. And the irony is that 4 years later, V's in rerun hell, and I'm still doing Freddy.
Well, does it ever bother you with the makeup and everything that Freddy has become such a cult figure, and you're so relatively anonymous to the Freddy fans? Does that ever bother you?
I'll be honest with you, Leslie. I'd like to have a little more anonymity. I did some traditional press last year, People Magazine and Joan Rivers and the Late Show and things like that, and the cat's sort of out of the bag. I've been signing autographs off and on for about 10 years now as Robert Englund, but no one ever knew who the heck Robert Englund was. I just had this face that people remember, and I'd be showing up on the Late Show or in reruns or on cable, or I've done several television series, so people would recognize me. I'm kind of like, didn't I go to high school with you? But no one ever knew my name. Now the cat's out of the bag, and I'm in Rolling Stone this month, and I was in Time Magazine last month, and so I'm getting recognized a lot now, and I kind of wonder whether that was a mistake or not. I kind of liked the anonymity there for a while, and just being recognized every once in a while. Now I drive a convertible, and I'll tell you, life gets ugly at the stoplights, Leslie. Yo, Krueger, I wonder if I forgot to signal, if I cut somebody off.
You don't get very many speeding tickets that way, though, right?
No, I just sign autographs for the policeman's kid now.
Well, tell me
Sweet
something.
dreams, Robert, on the back of the ticket.
You have a very impressive background in theater. Do you ever want to return to the stage minus the claws, or what do you have to do?
Actually, I do. I do have some designs there. It's sort of like heals the wounds. I produced a play last year in Los Angeles written by John Patrick Shanley, who wrote Moonstruck and won the Oscar for Moonstruck, and I was very proud of that. And the play was called Savage in Limbo, starring Sam McMurray from the Tracy Ullman Show. And I'd like to get back into that some more. And I directed my first movie last year as well, and I'll be directing some of Freddy's Nightmares. So I have other interests, and I love acting, you know. I hope to do some other kinds of acting down the line. I just had to turn down a movie in Australia, sort of a Mad Max thing, which would have been a lot of fun to do.
Mad Fred. Yeah.
Mad Fred, yes, right.
Well, tell me about 976 Evil. Tell me about directing that.
That was a great experience. I was able to work with one of my favorite actresses in that, Sandy Dennis, who I've loved for years, and she played a sort of like a combination of the Piper Laurie role in Carrie, you know, the religiously obsessive mother. If you crossed her with Tammy Faye Baker, you know, she was sort of a Jim and Tammy religious fanatic, you know, and Sandy was marvelous. And a young actor you might remember if you saw Fright Night, Stephen Jeffries, he played Evil Ed, and he's just a great young actor. He's done a lot of Broadway, and he was also in the Sean Penn movie At Close Range, and a wonderful movie that not too many people have seen called Heaven Help Us, with Kevin Dillon from Platoon and Donald Sutherland. Terrific young actor. I enjoyed it. I loved all elements of filmmaking, and it was a great experience.
What intrigues you, Robert, about the character of Freddy when you're doing your transformation from Robert to Freddy? What is it that you like about him?
Well, he's on automatic pilot now. You know, I put that smelly sweater on, and after about 3.5 hours of makeup, I'm a pretty ornery guy. Having somebody with their fingers in your nose and your mouth and your ears for that amount of time, and that cold glue every morning at about 5 a.m. So I can shift into character relatively easy. What's fun for me is sitting around between the takes, you know, like I could be hanging out with you or the crew, and I'm Freddy now, so I can say anything I want because I've got all that stuff on. And that's the fun part, is being able to be a little nastier and a little bluer and a little grosser off camera than Robert Englund would ever have the courage to be. And it's fun, you know. I always get to tell the new crew dirty joke, you know. They usually test it on me first, and Freddy gets to do it first on the set, you know. And it's real interesting when Freddy, you know, loses the football pool, you know, on the set and things like it. That's the fun for me, you know. And the crew guys drag their kids to the set, you know, and we take some pretty silly photographs and Polaroids, you know. I have this line. I figure I'm on all of the crew refrigerators all over Southern California with some lewd magnet, you know, kissing babies or something.
Well, I understand that you are a newlywed.
Yep, there it is.
How about
there
that?
There it is.
Well, tell
Freddy's
me,
married.
Yeah, well, what does Freddy look for in a bride?
Ah, yeah. Someone with real long Julian nails, Leslie. Yeah, no, I met Nancy. Nancy Booth's my wife, and I met Nancy on the set of 976 Evil. She was my set decorator, and she's pretty jaded. She had just come off of La Bamba and Masters of the Universe, which I think took them a heck of a long time to make. So she's seen all the special effects and makeup effects there are, you know, so she's pretty jaded about the whole thing.
Well, why don't you leave us with that patented Freddy laugh?
You want the Freddy laugh?
Yeah.
Okay. Leslie, Crook and Chase, here it comes.
Thanks so much, Robert, for joining us. Nice talking to you.
Bye-bye.
We'll think of you the next time we're at the exit in.
Okie doke.
Bye-bye.